Hey tubers, meet today's adventure. This is a 1985 TRX 250. In a lot of ways, honestly, it's kind of a big red, except it has 4 tires on it instead of 2. For those of you who've been with me for a long time, this, excuse me, I think this was an offer-up deal. I think this was my first offer-up deal. And this was my first deal with the crew I'm going to call the Trailer Park Boys. And the I'm not going to say the name, but the person I bought it from had the same name as a nighttime host, somebody who does the late time TV shows. So when he said his name, he started dancing around, kind of singing the theme song or humming the theme song, kind of a character. Anyway, this bike was well ridden and well used. I mean, you could start from the front of it. I mean, with a bumper like that, I mean, what did somebody use that for? A demolition derby? I mean, look at how well made that is. So there's the front bumper. The plastic is on it, but generally speaking, it's fairly well worn also. I'm not sure if it's this side or that side where the metal's actually made out of a piece of license plate. I don't see any letters stamped in here, so it's probably that side. Right, that's plastic, but down in there. So it's very, very well used, but a lot of it's intact. Like the trunk is here. Right, it's not missing. Both lights are there. Or maybe this was the license plate. I'm not sure. I don't want to show you the license plate because I'm not sure if where the plate came from. It did plow at some point. That's what that handle thing is for. It did not come with a key. And it's got stuff like this going on, like, what's with that? What's with this? What does this do for a living? At some point, I did get it running. It does have, I'm going to use the comment, it has the wrong carburetor on it. I don't know if I put that carb on it or not, and the way you could tell is by how tall this thing is. To be honest with you, this doesn't look like my work, so I don't think I put that on there. Well, it still works though. I don't know. I always like when I look at these things, I could kind of tell fairly quickly what kind of shape they're in by looking at the air filter. And it doesn't have an air filter, it has a screen. It does have this piece of plastic, that's normally a decent sign. So what are we going to do? I'm trying to get to the point where my stuff is more right than wrong. And by that I mean, I'd actually like to be able to walk up to this thing and turn a key on and push a button and have it start. Right? You know, put the choke on, push a button and have it start. The good thing about getting the quads and everything in that kind of condition is they actually have some value at that point. The hard thing about getting them in that kind of condition is now you're throwing money around, right? Even the knockoff carburetors are typically somewhere around $60. Getting the gas tank straightened out, if you have to put sealer in them and so forth. The sealer's a $30-40 experience, right? If you get a couple of sealed gas tanks out of the mix. This one, the tires seem to hold air, which is a very good thing. The brakes were dragging a bit. I had to tap them. I had to tap the. That's what that hammer's doing there. I had to tap this downward to get them to release, to get it to roll, to bring it in. Yeah, this thing really is fairly well worn. The greatest thing I think anybody could ever do when they buy a quad, right? Typically you have it on the back of your truck. My first suggestion is to stop at the car wash and just you know, get the dirt off of them, get them cleaned up, and then you could really see what's going on. Especially if you're working down in here, you really don't want to keep putting dirt into the engine. So just off the top of my head, as I'm looking at this thing, I need to come up with a key switch. I need to spend a few minutes on the wiring. Once again, I did get it started, so the wiring isn't too messed up on this thing. I think a lot of it is still there. Hopefully that carburetor will come back, but I might need to do something with this cable situation. I do have to buy an air filter. I'm probably, given that this plastic, from a functionality point of view, is more or less doing what it's supposed to. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if you're out riding it, it's not throwing mud in your face, right? Well, it's not throwing any more mud in your face than it should, right? Because the fenders and the skirts are there. So I'm probably not going to mess around with that too much. I wanted to get it into the garage today because at night our temperatures have been going down in the teens, and typically with this garage all closed up, it's normally right around freezing. Is as cold as it gets. I don't know, do I have a bottle of water floating around? Yeah, like this water has been, you know, just sitting here and it didn't freeze. So even without my door open and the solar heating, it typically doesn't freeze. Though I've only had that door open up for a few minutes, it's already come up a couple of degrees, and I believe it's below freezing outside. I don't know, what is it, 30? So it's 30 outside, and it came up 2 degrees by just, you know, having that door open a few minutes. So because that said 30 when I walked in here. All right, well, 30, those bottles of water should be frozen, but anyway, it's warmed up a touch. Even just a few minutes I've opened up the doors and let the light in. So this is our next project. I hope you guys enjoy it. This, I have a little more information about this because I've already done some troubleshooting. But typically, this is about the condition you find a non-running $500 quad in. This is like a $500. If you were to find this on Craigslist, you know, it's somewhere around $500. If you spend much more than that for it, you're really kind of slipping into a bad spot. I kind of know it runs, right? As a matter of fact, I think he started it for me when I bought it. So I know it runs and it moves and it does everything it should. So I didn't give him $500 for it. I'm remembering something like $375. I don't know. Somebody could go to my my history and look it up. By the way, this is camouflage tape. It actually held up halfway decent. So it's about done now, but it had held up pretty good. Okay, I hope everyone is looking forward to this project. I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. Please remember to keep your feet down, keep your heads up, and please get out there and enjoy each and every day. Bye now, folks.